What's up, everybody, and welcome back. The end of summer is here. I hope you guys enjoyed your summertime. I definitely have, and it finally makes sense as summer is coming to an end and the temperature is cooling to talk about how to keep your car cool. Anyways, I realize I'm a little bit late with this video, but I finally want to share with you guys how I did my electric radiator fan conversion and give you all the details necessary with the wiring. So please stay tuned for all the details. Some of you may recall my last video where I showed how I actually mounted the electric fan to the radiator, but I didn't go into any details with the wiring or with it actually on the car. That's because at the time, the car wasn't running. So you can check out that video here for more details on the exact fan that I used and how I mounted it. Now I want to give you some specifics about the wiring on the car. But real quick before I do that, why did I convert to an electric fan? So for those who don't know what an electric fan is versus a mechanical fan, I'm not going to go into details on what those are. You can go ahead and YouTube it in the search bar and you'll find plenty of answers and videos describing the differences. I'm not here to talk about which one gives you more power. The simple reason why I converted to an electric fan is a matter of control. With an electric fan, you have more options to control the temperature at which the fan turns on and off. You can do that externally with just an external controller or sensor, or eventually if you have an aftermarket ECU or standalone, you can control it within the ECU. That's my end goal, is to control within the ECU. Right now I don't have that option, so I'll show you guys what I've done. Here's the wiring diagram for my electric fan. It's pretty standard amongst anybody who does this conversion. I'm showing a typical relay that you can buy at any auto parts store. In the next picture, I'm going to show you the FC air conditioning relay, as that's what I used in my setup. I no longer have air conditioning and wanted to keep the stock unit and keep it looking stock and stealthy underneath. Before I show you my actual setup, there's two conceptual items I want to share with you. The first is the fuse to the 12-volt battery source. This may vary depending on your application. For mine, it was a 30-amp fuse. A quick way to check is you can measure what the amperage is of the actual fan motor by plugging it directly to a battery. Use a 12-volt car battery and then hook it up to a multimeter. Make sure it's a DC multimeter and measure what the amperage is of the fan motor. Typically it could be somewhere around 15 amps to maybe 20 amps. Do this and make sure you have a fuse that has enough amperage for your fan. For my fan, 30 amps was perfect. The second item I want to talk about is a temperature switch, aka the Thermo switch. I purchased mine from Pegasus Racing. There's a link in the description below. This switch opens at 190 degrees Fahrenheit and closes at 170 degrees. You want to make sure there's not a lot of interference between your temperature switch and the thermostat of your car. Now, the thermostat for the RX-7 is from 177 degrees Fahrenheit to 182 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the opening temperature. The full open temperature is 203 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to make sure your fan switch turns on after the thermostat is open. You want the radiator to have enough time to actually cool some of the coolant, and then the electric fan will pull air through that hot coolant. If it opens up too early, it won't be doing anything except pulling extra load on your car for no reason. So here's the wiring harness I made for the electric fan. This is a beta version. I'll make a cleaner version later, but this is to make sure that my idea and everything works. On the left, you'll see the relay from the AC. And coming out of that relay is a small red wire that is my 12-volt ignition source. I'm actually tapping into the source from the stock AC harness. On this clip, I removed everything else that was unnecessary and I only kept the connection for the 12-volt ignition source. From there, if you follow the harness along and down, in the middle is the wiring that goes to the electric fan motor. Now there's 3 wires from the electric fan, a ground wire, and then a high and a low setting. Now I left myself the option of plugging in whichever setting I want.
I only have one setting plugged in at a time, and right now I have it at the low setting. But if I'm at the track and things get hot and I notice the car is running hotter than normal, I will unplug the low setting and leave it in the high setting. Now if you continue following the harness down to the right, we'll see that the wires split off into a clip and a power wire. So the red wire is my 12-volt battery source. I actually tapped into the stock fuse box for this source. And what I ended up doing is putting a 30 amp fuse in this empty location on the stock fuse box, so I could keep it looking stealth and completely stock. From there, I have my two ground wires. One is coming from the electric fan itself, and the other is coming from my thermal switch. The thermal switch is what helps close the circuit. I was playing with different options on where I wanted this located on the motor, and I finally found a setup that I like and that is working really well for now. This is the adapter I bought for the temperature switch. I purchased it from Mishimoto, and it's installed in the upper radiator hose right after the thermostat. Before moving on further, I want to make sure the wiring actually works for the electric fan. So I turn IG on and I wire in a temporary switch to see if the circuit is working correctly. Now that I know my circuit works, I plug in the thermal switch and I finish the job. I hook everything else back up and I fill the system up with coolant. I make sure that I burp the system first to relieve any air pressure inside, and then I take it for a test drive. After a quick drive to get it up to operating temp, I open the hood and check on the fan, and sure enough, it's working.
So that is how I wired my electric fan. I hope that answers some of your guys' questions from my last video. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down and give me some feedback. Don't hesitate to leave me your feedback down below. To follow up, I'll be making some videos about a new exhaust I installed in the car. I'll also show you guys how I wired my AAM wideband failsafe gauge. So that about wraps this video up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to start putting videos out now about every other week, at least twice a month. I got a new PC now that I built, so making videos a lot easier and faster than it was before on my little laptop. This thing just could not keep up. I still have a ton of work to do, and I'll keep you guys posted. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll have more frequent updates there as soon as I can, or on RX7 Club. Anyways, thanks again. I'll see you guys later. Bye.